welcome everyone to the Billion Dollar Banker podcast. We're excited to have you here today, and I'm excited to have this very special guest, a personal friend and local entrepreneur in the finance, title, and credit industry. So Dan, welcome.
Thank you, Nicole. Pleasure to be here. Thanks so much for having me.
So I had to bring you on the show because you're just such a dynamic person. You're an amazing entrepreneur. When you and I sit down and we talk, we could go for hours. And I had to come here today and do this interview with you to let the viewers know more about who you are. So tell everybody about Dan Danizik.
Thank you. Dan Danizik. Yeah, my father and mother, I always say, Jeffrey, Michael, Daniel, right? Mm-hmm. But so I started my career in 2000. I'm a New Jersey kid, born and raised. I actually started my financial career in 2000. Before that, I started in the Department of Transportation, state of New Jersey, doing construction of highways. And that was a very short-lived career. And as my dad was very good at that stuff, I have the gift of gab, and
there you go.
Work ethic and hard work is deep-rooted into my family, and I'll get into that in a little bit. But I'll never forget, it was 2000, and my buddy was getting into the mortgage business right out of college, and we were all making our choices, where we're going to go. Like, I went to high school. Listen, I didn't love school at all. I have a voracious appetite for learning and knowledge, and I read everything from periodicals to books to anything. I'm reading all day and all night, but in a school setting, they didn't mold the type of guy that I was. Right. So I was lost. I got out of high school. I was lost. Did college for a little bit. That didn't work out. I had no interest in being there. I got into the state of New Jersey. My dad's like, it's the union. It's what we do. And I'm like, yeah, that's not going to work. So in 2000, the mortgage business was getting fired up, and I wanted to get in, but I didn't have a college degree, and it was very difficult at the time. And I moved to Hoboken. I sold my motorcycle to move into Hoboken.
Love Hoboken.
And great times, great day. And as a matter of fact, when my parents came down, they're like, Hoboken's a crap hole. You're not moving down there. My family's from Jersey City, right?
You called it early.
My father joked in and he goes, holy shit, excuse my language. He goes, I can't believe how much this place has changed. And I told you. Yep. So I moved in 2000. I got a job in the mortgage business. And, little did I know it was eat what you kill. But at 21 years old, 20 years old, whatever I was when I started, you don't care because you got an opportunity.
Right.
And the opportunity that was presented was different. Now, I'd be remiss not to say this because I think it's funny at this point. It wasn't funny then. I didn't even know what an interest rate was.
There you go. Yeah, that's how most people kind of come up, right? Like you didn't land in the mortgage business because you wanted to become one when you were a young kid, right? You just kind of end up there. You're outgoing, you're personable. Yeah. All the rest of it comes after.
People always like, what do you sell? And I'm like, I'm not in sales.
Yeah.
But I always knew in my heart, it just didn't have a direction. And I'll get into that a little bit. But so long story short, I interview, I'm good with people. I can talk. I don't have a shy bone in my body. My little daughter's the same way. My son's more introverted, but I'll get into that as well. So long story short, I interview. There's like 50 guys in this interview. And I'm like, how the hell am I going to get this job? Well, that was on Friday at 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock Friday. They call me like, you start Monday. I'm like, this Monday? They're like, you need a suit. I'm like, I don't even have, I have one suit. They're like, you better get the G. I called my mother. She took me to Newport Center Mall. We got a couple suits.
I wish I had a picture of you we could put up of like you in your suit next time. We should get that done.
Now I got custom suits. But that one was the $99 JCPenney suits. When I do wear them as a black t-shirt today, it's very casual.
That's it.
But long story short, I started this company and they teach me from the ground up. And if you can talk, that's a benefit. If you're outgoing, it's another benefit in sales. So use that to your ability. So the one thing I didn't like, but I didn't know it at the time, is they're like, you're going to cold call. Again, I'm like, cool, I'll cold call. You had to make 400 cold calls a day.
Yeah.
My fingers were bleeding. So after the first week,
I don't even know how that's possible.
Before dialers.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Before
caller
dialers.
ID.
Yeah.
Right. So the open ratio was really good. Now you got a kid that can talk and say hi, and he's building rapport right away. And it clicks for me. I closed my first deal in 3 months.
Wow. Good for you.
So 400 calls a day, as you can imagine, after 3 months working 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. No salary. I'm like, what do you mean no salary? But I have to work 10 to 8. And already the entrepreneurial stuff's going on. Now I'm kind of like in this. But I respect that I work for somebody, and I respect these guys that give me a shot where other people wouldn't have given me that shot. So
your early mentors.
Deeply gratitude to my early mentors. As a matter of fact, I spoke to the guy that hired me a month ago. We needed some title insurance stuff, and he's calling me 24 years later.
I love that.
So like, I don't burn bridges. I'll blow them up, but I don't burn very bridges. So long story short, we ride this tremendous wave. In 05, it just explodes. But in 06, I was burnt out. We were running 85 loan officers. We had a 300-person team. I was not an owner. I had switched companies at that point. The other company, I just wasn't cold calling. We were purchasing leads. I was running a sales team.
Yeah. That was really a big part of the beginning of the sales business for a lot of people, was cold calling, lead generation, right? So it's just interesting. Like, and I love at some point to pick your brain on how many changes you've had to make through your career to like adapt to the environment.
I think that goes back to my entrepreneurial side, that I have a very diverse brain, right? I'm not closed-minded. I'm not black and white. I operate very gray.
Right.
So if you have that, I think that's another edge in sales, another edge in entrepreneurship. And I'll touch that. But long story short, as you know, because you've been in the mortgage business a long time, I grew up with, the, in my opinion, the best generation of salespeople ever. So you take a little bit of this guy, a little bit of this girl, a little bit of that. You hate that person over there. You don't want to listen to them. But you become them. And then, you know, I was lucky to be around really high-level professionals that were astute. They knew their business. They were talented. And they go, grab this kid. And they helped me rise it up. So you don't do anything yourself in life.
No. We talk about this often, right? It's like it takes a team, especially when you have that diverse mindset and you see so much opportunity. Yeah.
So I go to this company. We have this huge team. 2008 comes. We have $400 million in the pipeline. And the recession happens. And we went from, I don't remember the exact numbers, so why even get into it? We went from feast to absolutely famine overnight. Wholesale banks were shutting down left and right. Our deals are piping down. Our referral sources are getting all pissed off at us. And then everybody understood. But at the beginning, you can imagine, I'm on the call from 7 o'clock in the morning to 12 o'clock at night fielding calls. I got 30 deals in my pipeline, if not more. I don't remember the exact numbers, but a lot.
Yeah.
And then the market falls out.
And then change number one.
I'm 28 years old. I kind of met my girlfriend, now wife, at that time. I believe it was around that time. She'll kill me.
Shout out to Dana.
Shout out to Dana, CEO of our companies at this point.
Exactly.
So I keep saying to her, the mortgage process is arduous and complex, but that's not the point. I can't get into it. I don't have the capital to open up my own bonds, 500 grand, blah, 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 right? So I'm looking at all these other avenues, and there's an in-house credit repair guy. And he's doing huge deals. So we're feeding him. Right. And the first idea pops in my head, entrepreneurial, going, I can do this. He's giving me all the information, and I can use the loan officers, meaning as a sales team.
And what a perfect time too, because I'm sure the credit risk was through the roof as the transition occurred, right?
Well, when you harvest out all the 750s and the 800s, and then you go down to the 680s, and then you get to the 600s, and you can't do the deal. Yeah. So instead of saying no, my philosophy is not yet.
Help them out, yeah.
I'm a farmer. I'm a hunter, gatherer for sure, but I also know how to cultivate farming, meaning I'm going to keep you in my pipeline. I'm going to send you this guy in 3 months, 9 months, whatever it is. You come back, I do your deal, and we build rapport, because other people are just saying no. We still believe that philosophy today.
Which is important for people that are watching, right? Because that's still a business that you have today.
100%.
And a lot of people think credit's a barrier to home ownership. And the reality is there are solutions. It does take time, some less than others, but there are solutions. And places, companies like yours, you can help them get on the right path.
There is. And then sometimes it's a bankruptcy situation or a Chapter 7 or a 13 if you're that far gone. But we want to put a pillar into that, a pin into that before we go down that road. We want you to explore opportunities. But that goes back to college again. There's more information now about my business as ever. Not so much in the title field. That's still very, very different. Sure. But in credit, it's come out. But what happens when you get too much information? Saturations, opinions, facts become opinions. Opinions become facts. It's all kinds of rigmarole. You don't know who's right and who's wrong. And we have a pretty good grasp. So in 2008, I started a company called Credit Maintenance and Consulting, which we own. Okay. In 2012, I spun that off because now I saw a wholesale side, loan officers, financial guys. I use my whole network.
Right. You had your existing network, new business.
Network is your net worth, right?
So walk me through, when did Leo Fortis come? Because we started off by introducing you as an entrepreneur, and I love these conversations with you because you take massive action. I've been saying it over and over again. This business is about being able to stay agile, right? Especially with these major swings and these major cycles. So for someone like you to talk about a story where you were ridiculously successful and then boom, no fault of your own, which I'm not supposed to hit the desk, no fault of your own, right? No fault of your own, the market shifts and then you shift with it. And I love that story. So when did the shift to title come?
I think first of all, you got to get to the psychology of us as entrepreneurs. You either quit or you don't. I'm a resilient person. I didn't know that when I started out at 20. My dad, when he got me my first job pumping gas, I hated it. I didn't want to work. But you learn. My parents are two of the hardest workers I've ever met in my life. Yeah. So as the shift comes, I have a pity party just like everybody else. I'm down and out just like everybody else, but I don't stay there.
Yeah.
So as we're talking about execution, commitment, and discipline. So as I ride these businesses up, credit is still rocking, but I'm salivating. And loan officers, now my friends, are calling me going, dude, do you have a good title insurance company? My title company sucks. I'm like, how does your title company sucks? I was in the mortgage businesses. We had rock stars. Well, a lot of them went out of business in 2008, 9, 10.
Yeah.
Then some people tried to come in, but if you leave for 3 years, your book of business goes with you.
Yeah,
they all start new relationships. Time doesn't wait for anybody, neither does business.
And that was 08. And fast forward now, and I know we're talking about kind of the mindset, which I think we should stay on because I think this is so important. So, when you think about the mindset of someone that and this is no business is insulated from these situations. I was just talking to Eric of Black Swallow Studios, where we are today. Phenomenal studio.
Agreed.
We're excited to keep shooting here. And we were talking about Gary Vee and how he was talking about AI influencers 100%. Taking out influencers. Like today, it's influencing, right?
You'll have people say, no, that's never going to happen. Yes, it is. Right. AI is here. That's a conversation we can have.
Yes.
Investing some capital into some AI forms, but not to cut you off.
I love that.
You and I always are volleying back and forth.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing I capitalized in the title business, right? We now have 3 of these companies, almost 4. What does that mean? We merge and acquire title companies. But I think the story back up. So in 15, I interviewed 6 or 7 companies. I'm about to make a deal. I like it. I like the paper. I like the balance sheet. When I'm looking at a company or a merger, I am turning it over. It's not boulders. It's pebbles. I want to know the details, the finite details, who I'm working with, what their background is, how they are as people, how they treat the waiter matters to me because I treat the waiter and the CEO the same exact way, and it'll never change. I put my pants leg on one leg at a time like everybody else. I'll never change egotistically like that, and I don't want to work with people that are because that's going to be a fractured relationship later. But then I get this call. A guy was away for a month, and he's like, dude, I'm out of the business, but you got to talk to this person, Melody Petty. And I'm like, who the hell's Melody Petty, right? I'll call her up. What am I going to do? Leave a stone unturned? I talked to her for an hour and a half. She comes up to my house in Wayne. I come up the next day. I clear my schedule 3.5 hours. I'm like, this is my girl.
That's it.
She's pragmatic.
Yep.
She's unbelievably professional. She's super smart. And she's second generation. Her mother started the company back in, I believe, 89. So she took it over in 06. I came in 15. Melody, we divided. Conquer, divide.
Yep.
Your role is back end. Yep. My role is running my big mouth, using my 8,000 people now in my cell phone, making them understand rapport and building relationships. I'll do the front end. She's like, thank God, because I'll never go out for a coffee meeting. Okay, cool.
That's I mean, that speaking to your entrepreneurial skills, right? Taking massive action, being agile, but also being able to identify where your weaknesses are and where someone else's weaknesses
100%.
Are and offer strength. We talk about this often. You can only move so far along just on your own. So the fact that you guys met and that became kind of serendipitous for you guys and you started off, I love that story.
That's
so
deep,
that's
man.
The first one that you...
Well, that's checking your ego, by the way, just to get on.
It
like
is.
I can't walk in and say, I'm going to read the back end. I'm going to underwrite the back end. I am him.
I'm 100%. I want it all. Everybody works for me. It's like
if you're going to coach, I'm a quarterback and a coach, right? I'm more of the coach at this point. I'm still playing quarterback. I'm 45. I'll be 46 in August. I got a lot of tread in these tires.
Yeah.
But I coach in a different manner. I don't yell. I can be yell. I'm an aggressive guy. I like jiu-jitsu and martial arts and all these other things. But I'm humble. And it's like, who said recently, be a savage and learn how to control it? Joe Rogan said it to something.
I love that.
Be a savage and learn how to control. And that's what I've done. So these little small, minute details don't piss me off. I don't get fired up. I like 1,000 degrees. The hotter it is, the better. I never knew I was going to be like that, but I've tried and tested. So Melody runs the back end. I run the front. In 2017, we get a JV. In 2019, we merge with another struggling company. Didn't get the front end right. Couldn't get the back end right. I take a look under the hood. I'm like, I could fix all this. And they're like, bullshit. People don't. Because salespeople are always like, they're like,
Yeah, if I can't do it, who can do it?
You don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, give me 6 months. 6 months.
And then,
they're on our team. They're part of my platform. They're owned by Leo Fortis Title. I'm putting together a massive joint venture in New York City.
Yeah.
As we
Congratulations on that.
Yeah, thanks. Amazing. I don't want to get too deep in the woods with it, but it's an accomplishment and a maturation to stepping stones, resiliency, persistency, the discipline, the execution you're always talking about, and the commitment. So then in 19, I get one of the biggest phone calls of my life. So now I got two credit companies, wholesale and retail, Square One, credit maintenance and consulting. 15, we got Leo Fortis, Monument title, Evolution title. One other one, the ink's not dry. I can't get into that. And probably one more right after that. Let the wheels keep rolling, even in this capitulating
Look, now's
market.
another time, right? Now's another time.
So I get a call from a former Blackstone partner I played golf with at a country club I'm no longer a part of, but was, and we fast friendship. And he's like, dude, you are the American dream. You know, kicked out of your apartment, car repossessed at 2000, no money, know it, but grit, determination.
So just get
balls
right back.
and brains, excuse my language.
Yeah.
He goes, tell me how you did this. And I'm like, I just followed a route of integrity, credibility, openness, candor. But here, following up on the hard emails, calling the hard clients, answering the really tough questions. I've never walked away from that.
It's not easy.
On vacation, not on vacation, in my office, in the car. The hard questions, in my opinion, are how you're defined as a responsible, reasonable, and elite business professional. Answer the call. And that too many emails, pick up the phone.
Yeah. Nothing drives me more crazy than when you see like 47 emails going back and forth. Somebody just pick up the phone and have a discussion.
5 minutes. Character, pizzazz, tonality, right?
No doubt.
Candor, humor.
That's what
we need more humor. And I'm not saying to crack jokes.
Well, we talk about often. You got to kind of like who you're working with, get to know your customers, build that rapport with people.
KYC, know your customer.
Yeah, you have to.
We talk about it every day.
So when you've had all this success in business, and there's so much more to come for you, and I know what you're going to create, and you take massive determined action on the things that I love that about you. You're not just a talker, right? You back up what you're talking about with action, which is huge.
Thank you.
When you think about the people that are watching this and what it takes to be successful in general, what would be, because I went through a very similar situation as you, right? Top of the Empire State Building, I like to say, at the biggest, best place I could be, running one of the biggest branches at the largest financial institution in the country, to starting all over again, right? And there's something about, you hear successful people say all the time, it's the journey, like that they look back on. It's not the end destination. It's the journey. It's that grit that you were talking about in the beginning. But what do you think gives you that motivation? Like, what's your why? What's your drive that makes you get up and say, I'm going to keep going?
At first I wonder if it was people and the judgment of people, because now I don't give it. I can care less. But when I'm starting, you're not going to mean at 20 years old and 22 years old. If I didn't have the phone, I think a 45-year-old family buying $1 million house is going to buy for me. I'm wet behind the ears. But I believe that it was confidence and belief in myself. There's a difference between confidence and arrogance, confidence and cockiness. You got to have confidence in this business. You got to have confidence in all you do, but you have to learn and grow from experience. And for some reason, every time I fall down, and you're being so complimentary of my success, like the iceberg's here in life, right? What's underneath it? There's 1,000 feet of catastrophes. I've just learned that every time I freaked out or I got upset or I pulled the ripcord, you know how many times I've said I quit? A million. You know how many times I have? None. Zero. It's not in the DNA of a 45-year-old man that believes in himself. But hold on again. It goes back to, I've had 7 people with me now since 2015. So I'm doing something right with the people on my team that stay with me, deal with my craziness. And craziness is not a bad thing. I'm not crazy. I'm crazy for the dreams and aspirations.
They believe in you. They believe in you.
And I believe in them. So it's this maturation that I coach and I pat in the back and the butt and say, great job. You know how many times a week I tell my team, great job? Now, do I come down on them when something breaks because something underneath that is missed? Not as hard as I used to, but we still have to have that defensive strategy in business to say, if we're going to say we're elite, and we're the best. And I say it. I don't care what competition is. I think I'm better than you. Well, if you think you're better than me, be better than me.
Absolutely.
Take market share from me. But I'm going to take it from you because we have an elite team of astute professionals that are constantly training. The Navy SEALs never stop training. We're not Navy SEAls, but we are in the business. You can't stop. I mean, this, especially in the mortgage industry, I always say it's a constant evolution. You could start today. And, know things that people that have been doing it for 20 years don't know, because the guidelines are consistently changing. What lenders will do is constantly changing. All the programs that are out there today for first-time home buyers to stimulate the market. And, I'd like to get your opinion on that. I mean, so many professionals, so do I, that are kind of looking around like, what are we going to do, right? Inventory's scarce. It's no fault of our own that this
market cycle occurred. But
Yeah.
what would your advice be to people that are trying to figure out, like, well, what do I do, right? Instead of kind of repeating that same thing, like, hey, the inventory's down. How are you shifting in this market? What could people glean as far as insight from you?
So in 2023, I stopped all of our offensive strategies for the first time in my career because I thought the apocalypse was here. And the rates are bad, right? So what I did is I stopped our marketing, I stopped our campaign, I stopped our hiring. And 3 months later, you know, my wife and COO is looking at me, who I bounce real ideas off of many people, but nobody more than Dana.
Oh, yeah.
And she's my confidence. She's my wife. We figured it out. She says, if you have to come in my lane, put your blinker on.
Yeah.
I thought it was one of the funniest things she's ever said to me.
I like that.
Like, don't just barge in.
I've never heard that before.
Because I walk in and I barge in and I'm like, I have this new idea of a software company. She's like, get out, make an appointment, put your blinker on. So in 2023, I surrendered. I compressed. I felt it, right? I felt it coming off of 2021 and 22. I brought my title business up. No bullshit, 4,200 or 4,300%. I forgot. Wow. 4,300. I mean, that's
in 23.
Bigger growth than Amazon. Yeah, we killed it. We were, if we weren't number 1 or 2 in the state, it doesn't even matter. I'm chasing that, but I'm not. But what happens in 23 is here it is, right? Chairlift up, chairlift up, chairlift up, but the chairlift fell off. So we got very to the top. I want to ski my ass down with my family, and it stopped. So now I got a massive staff, decent sized payroll, benefits, 401. I'm running a company.
Oh, yeah.
And the rates go to 7%. I'm down 92% last year in refinancing. So listen, if you're going to talk about how successful you are, I don't care what anybody else does. I'm going to tell you the trials and tribulations.
Yeah.
When your business goes down 92% refinance and 60% purchase, most people are jumping off buildings. I'm not.
Oh, yeah.
I had a pity party for 3 months.
I feel like you're doubling down.
I'm 100% doubling
Which
down.
I just have so much respect for that because you're not seeing that.
So are you, though.
Yeah.
That's where your success is. You were talking about before about the tip of your... Listen, I mean, I knew you indirectly because you're running a multi-billion-dollar book at a team, and I couldn't be more proud of you to call you my friend at this point.
Yeah, amen.
But to see your success, and listen, I have women that run my company. I'm an equal opportunity dude. I don't care if you're black or white. I don't care if you're Jewish or Catholic. I care about one color. It's green.
Yeah.
I care about success and bringing the people up. The best person gets the job at my company. No questions asked. That's just the way I run my businesses. It's because we do profit sharing and partnerships. I have 2 unbelievable women that are my confidants. So when I look at you, I love you, but you're still a person.
Yeah.
And you're kick-ass. Right? It doesn't matter about any of that stuff at the end of the day. So,
but it is. It's the whole doubling down and investing in yourself. And I think when you see people doing that, there's this intrinsic sense of appreciation and respect because you understand what it takes. I mean, to pick up those 400, to make those 400 calls, what it took intrinsically from you to be able to be motivated to do that it's something most people don't possess, right? To do this right now is
I got the right training.
This is different for us, right? Sitting here doing, you know, at this phenomenal studio, sitting here doing talking the talk we normally have with all these cameras here. This is different for us, right?
Yeah,
it's something new.
Because I believe we have something to share for the people out there that are struggling and indecisive and saying I got C's and D's in high school and everybody says I got to go to college. I believe in college. I believe in higher education. I do, but I believe in the person first. The person has to find, you might be the best ditch digger, so embrace it.
Yeah.
Don't go to Wall Street if you're a ditch digger. I know buddies that are tin knockers in the city working 150. They will smoke me twice from Sunday in their professionalism, how great they are about their jobs.
Yeah.
But I found that I'm great at this.
Yeah.
So it's embracing, it's doubling down. But back to 2023, if I could.
Please.
We didn't lay off one person.
That's amazing.
So, you know, you get through this year, we're down and I'm infusing the company with money. You know, I don't want to get too deep into that, but who cares? We had 5 years of growth, 3 years of accelerated growth, 2 years of an anomaly.
Right.
Put some money away.
Yeah.
You have to have a rainy day fund.
100%.
You know, I'm 25. I didn't know what a savings account was. I had a piggy bank. I was cashing in change.
You learn it the hard way.
You learn the hard way.
Younger, no doubt.
But people don't want to admit that because they have to have confidence and ego.
Sure.
And fine. That's the way you want to be. This is the way I am. I'm more open. So we get through it. 6 months later, we put on all the marketing. This year, we had a totally different mindset. It's absolute pedal to the metal, foot to the floor. It's buried in whatever happens in the market is going to happen because what are we going to do? We'll hire the people that are getting fired. We'll hire the people that
Yeah.
are getting laid off. We'll take the books of business. I own the title company's debt free for the most part. Like, right,
Beautiful.
great.
Yeah.
I don't owe anybody
Yeah.
money there. So now we get to drive the car the way
Networking
we
and
want.
yeah, like the event that you put on, networking, and just all the things that you're doing to put the community together too.
Sure.
It's not just
Well, I'm a big community guy, especially because we're
Yeah.
kids. But to talk about that event, we host a big event at the Butcher's Block. We
Yeah.
rent it out on a Tuesday night. Most people in this market would be like, you're crazy. You're spending on a small wedding. And it worked, and it built buzz, and it built morale. So again, it goes back to this consummate belief in yourself, but it has your team behind us. I vouch for them. They let me do this. I have the utmost confidence in going out and telling somebody like you, we do business.
Yeah.
We're going to get the job done. It's going to close on time. We'll deal with the headaches.
Right.
We'll deal with the caveats. We'll deal with the changing markets, the guidelines, all the internals.
Everything.
You sell mortgage.
Get
I'll
out there
do
and
the
do what
title for you.
Yeah.
I'll work the other side. And when you have all these businesses backgrounds, it helps. So in 2019, I get a call from CJ Brown, as I was telling you. He's like, you have any interest in going to work at a hedge fund? And I'm like, what hedge fund? Who the hell's going to hire me? A hedge fund? I didn't go to Morgan. I didn't go to
Yeah.
Harvard.
Yeah.
He goes, well, I was a partner at Blackstone, as I know. He retired in 2017. He got bored. He wanted to open a hedge fund.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah.
He's on the investment side. He's got connections. I got the mouth. I have the sales ability. I know how to build teams. So I did that for a couple of years in a distressed credit and special situations. One of the biggest compliments of my life is to get that phone call and be an equity partner.
Oh yeah.
So I spent a couple years there, and the market doesn't get distressed, and it's still not distressed because of printing money, and that's an anomaly. So I ride this up for a couple of years, and long story short, I'm looking at my businesses, and I'm getting calls in title, and I'm asked to come into New York City now a lot more, and I'm like, I had to tell CJ the hardest thing is, as much as I want to help this business grow, and it's the only time I've ever left a business, I have babies.
Yeah.
I'm nurturing them, and they need my attention and focus, especially. You can run my businesses when the market's great. When it's down, the general needs to come back in and get his boots on and go. And I'm going to be on the front lines. Yeah. I'm going to lead from the front lines of my companies.
Yep.
And that's the way it's going to be. And that's what's shown proven success and growth.
Yeah, well, you got to know when to hold them, when to fold them, right? It comes. It's the same thing with employees, right? You got to know if you made the wrong hire, you got to let them go. If it's the right one, you keep investing in them. But
let's talk about that for a second.
Yeah,
right? Like in your business, you people are always like, oh, the CEO, the president, the founder. Dude, you know these mistakes, these decisions that we have to make. People with families, they're not working out. Yeah. They have outside influence impacting their business. We run an elite team, and we're very prestigious. We are a prestigious company internally, meaning we talk about this stuff. We want to be the best of the best in anything the Dan Danizik company does. Yeah. Right. And the work there is a privilege. It is. And if you want to excel and you want to live outside the white picket fence, the dog in the backyard, that's a fine lifestyle. That was my parents' lifestyle. I commend it. I respect it. My lifestyle is a dreamer. I'm contrarian. I don't follow the popular belief. I want a plane. I want to give back. I want to be a philanthropist. I want to help our communities.
And help others. We talk about this all the time, right? When we were talking about the journey before, right? The journey of coming up and trying to become successful and failing and succeeding again and going through these cycles. It reminds me of the saying, failure is not final success is not final and failure is not fatal. Yeah. Right. So meaning that it never ends, right? It's this constant cycle, but we talk about helping other people, right? And both you and I are passionate about that. Just the way we're passionate about the journey that we've gone through. We're passionate about helping other people get through that journey as well. Like there might be people out there today listening to this thinking, I could never do that, right? Or they don't have that intrinsic motivation. And I've always been, why I'm a leader in the mortgage industry, why you probably run a team or you're a phenomenal father, is because you love to show people the way, to help them learn from your mistakes and show them how to become what they're capable of, right? We talked about this the other day. Tell me more about that. Like when you're leading your team, when you help others, I see that as a big part of who you are.
This is a heartwarming conversation because it's just not I. The only I ever heard was Kobe Bryant when he said there's no I in team, but there is an ME, which I think is hysterical. And he was joking around, but I want people to succeed. I want you to get out of your lanes. I want you to get out of your comfort zone so you can handle more. in the gym, in your life. Like, what's clogging you up? Are you drinking too much? Listen, I was a big partier. I cut my drinking down 75, 80%, and all of a sudden my business go up. I like to dabble.
Yeah.
I was at your house Saturday night bending an elbow, but we were very responsible.
We were.
We got to go home. I have people to take care of now.
We have soccer at 8:30 in the morning.
I got 2 kids that play every sport. You make up a sport, and I'm going to take them there. I'm a professional Uber driver. I don't get paid for it.
That's it.
But I want people to succeed. I want them. I ask people on every hire, on every review. I do quarterly reviews with my clients, with my employees, with my team. I don't even call them my employees. I call them my team all the time, and it's better. My collective, our
That's
collective.
what we are, yeah.
And I want to know what's ticking. How's your home life? There's a lot of bosses and owners that don't want to get into home life. I do to a point. I want to know how we can fix things, how we can make things better. What can we do to make comfort? We live in a complete Steve Jobs. I hire people smarter than me to conduct the deals, and I let them lead in autonomy. Like, go do what you got to do.
Do what you
But I
gotta
like
do,
the
yeah.
resiliency of people. You got to understand transitory thinking. You're in a ditch. You're in a rut. It's been 3 months. Your boss sucks.
Yeah.
So what?
Yeah.
That's transitory. You have 100 years of life, hopefully.
Well, culture matters. Culture's it's so big.
It's
You want to wake up
intoxicating.
and love what you do every day, or you want to love where you go to work, who you got to talk to every day. If you don't, everybody feels it all the way through.
And that's leadership.
Yeah.
So even when I'm having a bad day, I have my confidence that I can bring it on. But if somebody calls me for my team, that's not their business.
Yeah.
I'm not crying over spilled milk. The violin, when I play, listen, I told you the other day when we spoke on the phone, I'm happy 350 days a year.
Yeah.
There's 15 days that I need to reset. I need to go on vacation because
need
I
that.
understand who we are as people.
Yeah, but
I
that,
run
that's
80
what we
hours a
work
week.
hard for is for
100%.
that ability to have that freedom and to that push that reset button. That's what continues to make us. It's a part of the plan, right? Is relaxing. Like there's people that will just
100%.
work all the time,
Yeah.
and when you love what you do, it doesn't feel that way, and I get that. But
Yeah, and you go on vacation and you're texting me and working, and
right.
Same thing. And it's just, it's
the way your
program.
mind thinks. Yeah, it's the way
Listen, the people that get up, like I go to the gym religiously. I'm in the gym 6 days a week.
Yeah.
I got lazy at one point. I was eating fast food. I felt like shit. I had brain fog. I was lethargic. And then I'm like, why do I feel like this? I don't go to the gym. I'm not eating correctly, and I'm adding things to my life and my brain power that's bogging me down. So what do? I just clean out the trash.
Yeah.
Every Thursday night, I take my garbage out.
Yeah, I
There's
love that
nothing
you're
wrong with
saying this. I love that we're talking so candidly, because a lot of times you listen to people that have achieved success and you're still extremely successful, right? But you're open to talking about your failures, right? You're not, this isn't a video of, Dan driving around in his Bentley or, whatever, or flying on your plane. And that's exciting to see those things when people actually hit those levels of success. You get to see what's possible. Yeah. But I think it's heartwarming, like you said before, to hear about the real life stories of people and business, and to know that it's not about like always being on the horse. It's about like when you fall off the horse, like it's about getting back on, and how do you get yourself there, and surrounding yourself with the right people, listening to the right people is huge. It's a huge part of that. And so I know we're almost running out of time here. So I want to, what do you want to leave the audience with? What are some things that you want to close us out talking about?
Just take away this. It's the success is internalized. It's from you. It's deep within, and it's, you have a desire. I believe firmly. Maybe you're not as outgoing as me. Fine. Maybe I'm not as smart as you. Fine. You have to just find inside of yourself and just continuously believe. Just believe and work hard and persevere through every rainy day, because it can rain for a month and then all of a sudden that cloud's there. And if you don't stay in the pocket, you don't get to witness the sunshine. I never said this before, but I just want people to have the consummate belief. It's not today. And understand something in business. You are not going to be a billionaire. I'm not a billionaire, but I aspire to be.
Sure.
I aspire to make people underneath me, 100 millionaires and billionaires, and with me, the same thing. Right. You just have to understand that it's a marathon.
Yeah.
And you have to understand, falling off that horse that you mentioned, it's going to hurt.
Yeah.
You're going to be scarred. You're going to fall off 7 times. And by that 7 times, you're not going to want to do rehab. And you're going to say, I give up. I will tell you and I will assure you one thing, if you've heard anything. When you give up, you're going to be 7 years old, hopefully retired, sitting on a beach and going, I could have. I should have. I didn't. Don't be that guy. Don't be that girl. Stay in the pocket. I'm telling you, the hits come, but they hurt a lot less. The big mistakes that you've made as a younger entrepreneur, you'll learn from them. Some of you put Band-Aids on, some you actually start a whole new blueprint.
It's progress, not perfection.
It's always working in progress.
Well,
and never think differently.
I love that. That's an amazing way to close out. Dan, we're so excited to have had you here today on the show. And I know we'll be back again.
Thanks, Nicole. I appreciate you having me today. Thanks so much.
Absolutely.